Okay, guys, this was a video requested by one of my stream viewers. He wanted to know how to draw legs. So we're gonna go super from the basics here, and when I say basics, I mean basics. So if we talk about stick figures and children, remember in the last video I was talking about representation. When children draw, they make abstractions of the body, and they typically look like this. We know that we have two legs. We know that we have two arms. When we get a little bit more accurate and more representational, we know that the body has, three major forms: the head, the rib cage, and the pelvis. And attached to those are ball and socket joints, and they have, some proportions compared to each other. And but this pretty much is a good model of all the parts. And this is typically when I work with students in person, I show them this model, the squares for the hands and the triangles for the feet. And you can use this, especially for animation. It's a pretty good model. Just remember that you got the spine, the backbone, and then the limbs, and the limbs connect with ball and socket joints. Now, with that in mind, we want to think about the pelvis here. So let me get. So the pelvis, let's not get into, how complicated the pelvis is, but let's think of it as a box. And on the bottom of the box, we can think somewhere inside the box or on the side of the box. Let's get the dotted line there. Inside of the box, there is going to be this ball and socket joint. And what happens is that the greater trochanter, the leg bone, the femur, the big bone, kind of comes out like that. But to make things even simpler, let's just think of it as, let's just make like a sort of cone-like cylinder and taper down like that from that ball and socket joint. And that's typically, the legs taper in. As you can see from this leg here, there is a clear taper as it comes down. And there's also some C curves and S curves. So if I go here, there's some curves like that. And as you familiarize yourself with the muscles, you'll start, seeing all these curves and memorizing where they are, But let's just keep it simple. So some people like a ball for the knee just to show that it does the joint there, the legs do move. But the kneecap is really in front, and the leg only really bends one way, which is, that way. So I'm going to draw another sort of cone/cylinder here that continues tapering down, but a little bit less so than the upper part. And this is a good model, evolving from the stick figure. Let me erase this here. Evolving from the stick figure, we have this cylindrical cylinder form. And that's pretty useful. And then the feet are going to attach, it's almost like armor or stirrups. I'm not sure the right word, but the tibia and the fibula, which is the two leg bones, they create the ankles. And the ankles are come on both sides, and then they sort of hold the feet, or it looks like they hold the feet, from the sides. Kind of like this. If I were to get my ankles here, and then the feet sort of come like that. This is the model that I use, at least. So this is like a 3/4 view, front and the back here. So from the front, we have our pelvis, which we're going to draw as a box. Maybe you can sort of draw, something like that. That kind of looks like underwear. But we have the ball and socket joint inside there, and the ball and socket joint, as opposed to the knee joint, the knee only allows the legs to go one way like that. So in fact, if I were to grab this foot, I wonder if this will work actually. If I were to grab it and just sort of rotate it like that along the knee, yeah, we know that it only bends one way. See? So here we have the leg, and it tapers down towards the center. It really depends on the position of the feet where it's going to taper down. If my foot is going to be way over here, then it would be tapering down that way, right? But let's just keep it neutral here. Taper down because the thigh is wider near the top. And our kneecap is just kind of a front piece. And then the bottom of the leg will taper down that way. I'm not even looking at muscles yet. We could look at, the quads and the calves and all that stuff, but I'm just looking at the general shape. It's this sort of cone cylinder with this converging cylinder, and we can think of that as a leg. I could draw, the muscles and everything, but ultimately, if you're going to draw um, legs, this is going to be the general shape, especially if you're doing animation or doing quick sketches. You're going to want to think of that tapering cylinder. Okay, so again, the angles in the foot. I like to draw the foot as a triangle. Just keep it simple. Yeah. So that's like my basic tip. And as far as like movement of the legs, you can really think of the stick figure, because if you think about it, inside of the leg is the stick figure, like that. You know. So if you want to do leg movements, you just have to know like where the bones are, and the bones are the stick figure, right? So this is a skeleton. So if I wanted to use this, the femur, luckily for us, is only one bone. The tibia and the fibula at the bottom here are two bones, but they're always close together, so you can draw a stick figure and it's going to guide you. So if I were to draw a leg here, I know that, from my own personal experience with musculature, that it's going to sort of have this shape. Okay, like that. So you can use stick figures to draw legs. Okay, so I'm going to let's draw one more right here. So let's draw maybe a guy running. And again, using my box model, everything slightly leaning forward because the guy's running. And then I'm going to draw my joints. Just going to draw them, ball socket joints. And let's see, maybe we'll rotate this box a little bit so that his right leg is a little bit forward. And to be able to do this, you got to practice your rotating boxes, But right there. So I'm going to do a stick figure like that. And then from the other leg, let's do stick figure like that. So we know our kneecap is here, and I know my foot. I'm going to use two as a triangle right there, like that. The bottom plane of the foot, the heel, the back part of the foot, and the top plane, just three lines like that. So we have our elbow coming back here, and I like to do a square for the palm. The palm is kind of like this, but anyway, we're not doing a video on palms, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. So, but based on this, I know that I can do my cylinder, cone-like cylinder, place a kneecap there, and then do another cone-like cylinder there. And then on the other one, it's kind of like hidden behind here, but on my cone slash cylinder there. How do you describe this shape? Cone slash cylinder is the best way for me to describe it. It's a cylinder, but it's a cone, but it's a cut off cone. Imagine this is getting cut off by a knife or something. Bam. It's getting cut off. The cone has been cut off. That's my knife. Anyway, kneecap right in front there, and then right there. That's another cone slash cylinder. So if I were to, let's try to refine this. Let's use red again. Let's sort of flesh this out. Or let's try blue. It might look a little bit more clear. So I know that the gluteus is there. The quads are up here. The kneecap is going to have a little piece there. And then, just study your anatomy. I'm not doing a really anatomy lesson. I'm just doing like basic legs. I personally don't feel qualified enough and knowing the names of all the anatomy to do it. And if you really want to do some deep, anatomy studies, you can just go ahead and go to Proco. This is a little bit more beginner level lesson. And even if you don't know all the names of the anatomy, just look at a bunch of pictures and try to find, the legs inside. Okay. Try to find the shapes of the legs and get them consistent. So something like this. Now let me clear up everything on the inside so you guys can see the shape that I made, like that. So that's a guy running. You can see some shape of the leg. Maybe this leg could be here. It could be a little thicker or something, but something like that. We'll just make adjustments. But that's the basic shape of the leg. I hope that lesson was useful for you guys. And if you guys have any specific requests, just let me know, okay? Love you all. Bye-bye.